Well, good evening to those of you who are attending our webinar this evening. And I have Dr. Robin Lynn Treptow on with me this evening, and she's actually one of our instructors who is marvelous in our Master's in Psychology program. And she traditionally, and I know this time around, starts our first class, which will start in August. And so it's a good opportunity to meet her and hear some of her expertise this evening. So we will start out by explaining to you that through the years we have gone into some different areas that we know that certain people want to have the opportunity to specialize in. And tonight, I believe, as I recall, Dr. Robin, this is the human services area of one of the choices that one can choose. So we're going to start sharing these slides with you. And again, we welcome any and all questions. So we like to start out by telling everyone who we are. We like to talk about the Master's in Psychology program, the concentrations, and our career opportunities. I actually happen to be the Director of Alumni Relations, and I'm training a new Master's in Psychology individual, and so I have the excitement of knowing where people go to work after they finish their Master's degree in Psychology. So we're going to go over some of that this evening, as well as scholarships, aid, tuition partners, and ways that we can help affordability for you all are on here to learn and perhaps enter our Masters of Psychology. So who are we? Well, our mission is to be an institutional education that actually provides students with an effective academic and educational environment. And also we're unique in that we support the integration of the psychological sciences and a Catholic Christian understanding of the person. Not just studying the scientific part of psychology, but the whole person. And in that is our School of Counseling, as well as our Institute for the Psychological Sciences. And each of our programs are part of each of those institutes and schools. One of the things that's very important when a person looks at attending college is to make sure a college or a university has accreditation. We are proud to have SACS, which is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, which is one of the finest accreditations one can earn. You have to be reviewed and have special criteria, but we also have an opportunity through the State Council of Higher Education Virginia, the American Psychological Association, the Association of State Provincial Psychology Boards, and also the SARA laws, which make sure that in specific states we can offer our counseling program. So one of the things that we have changed and really augmented in our first residency, which is virtual in the Master's in Psychology, since it is a 100% online, is to have a schedule, because we are normally asynchronous, but this is actually scheduled live the 7th week of class and falls on a Friday and a Saturday. And your instructors will give you specific examples of when those dates are, that so you can have that time to get very close to your cohort and really learn to know people, even though you're in an online class. Is there any more I should say about that, Dr. Treptow?
Well, yeah, I was just thinking to jump in. And can you hear me okay? Maybe I need to switch.
Yes, I can hear you great.
Okay, great. So we just finished our third residency with the class that is currently in week 7 of the course, and students are really just raving about the time. And I will say also that faculty, it's been very, very rewarding to have everyone in that same space, to have Dr. Klausley explaining things about the program, to hear some of the philosophy and theology pieces explained, and have some discussion time just among your peers. So all of that has just been really well received. So you will really enjoy that piece of the program.
Thank you, Dr. Treptow, for those insights. And I'll have you jump in whenever you want. We want to make sure everybody understands that this particular concentration is called the Human Services Counseling Arena. And tell us a little bit about why that was put together and what the demand was all about, Dr. Robin.
So there was quite a few students who were applying to the Master's in Science program who were interested in the Human Services Counseling. And so Dr. Clousley, our program director, did some research and discovered that there is actually some credentialing that you can obtain in that area, and did some research on finding out that there are quite a number of job opportunities, everything from case management to maybe peer support counseling, various different job opportunities that relate to the human services counseling. So we've just offered that now as a concentration. And so students who choose that particular concentration get a little bit more in the people's skills. Others can take that class, of course, too. But one of the, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but one of the special electives for this course really goes into helping skills a little bit more in detail.
And especially as at correctional centers, day treatment service agencies, there's so much need for guidance in those specific areas that you can attach this to a lot of different career opportunities, which, as Dr. Treptow said, we'll show you in a few moments. So we have several concentrations, and I think it's important to know that one can actually choose those, or they can wait till, once they started, to kind of feel what direction they want to go. So it's a really nice addendum to our curriculum. So marriage and family studies, this concentration really allows students to take 3 additional courses in the area of marriage and family studies from the perspective of the Catholic Christian teaching on marriage and family and historical, biopsychosocial, cultural, philosophical, and theological contents. The pre-PhD, we did have a lot of individuals who say, well, what if I want to be prepared when I've finished my Master's of Science to maybe pursue something a little bit more oriented towards research, for the opportunities to pursue doctoral level study in psychology related fields. And so this is that jump start of research and applied experimental psychology, clinical psychology, and others. And then the other one is the leadership. And this has become quite popular. When you go online, actually, in our website, there's a wonderful story on there by one of my own students and our graduate, Jerome Placido, who talks about being an IT guy and how the importance of learning all the leadership aspects that he learned in the Masters of Psychology really helped him be more influential in his leadership role. He knew the IT back and forth, but he didn't really have the leadership piece. So these choices make it very exciting from the vantage point of making sure that each person who is in here, and then the self-designed is a self-designed option that's created for students who are in work or ministry situations, and they can choose certain electives which may be very, very valuable in their parish, in their diocese, in their work. Is that a pretty good explanation of it all, Dr. Treptow?
Yes, that's an excellent explanation of it as well, yes. And so then some students are doing things like maybe they choose a leadership psychology elective and a marriage and family elective because they want to be leaders in their parish, specifically with marriage and family. And I think I'm going to need to go get some water, so sorry.
Okay. Well, and I think what's nice about this is to have the choices. I think Divine Mercy University does a really good job of listening to their students, of hearing what they say. And I do that on into the graduation arena once you're alumni, because who better than our students know what their pathway. And up front, when we interview students, we want to make sure that we're directing them in the right direction. And sometimes that direction can change, or as Dr. Treptow says, it can also be combined. So we like to kind of share with you the actual core subjects, and I'll let you all kind of take a look and read down through those. The other thing that we do a lot of times before we interview somebody is I also send you the course descriptions, which are online. But as you can see, the things that we focus on help people gain incredible tools, whether they're, again, working in any kind of a career. We have people who come in who want to take a coursework and teach in college, or they want to impact something in their job that they know they'll get a promotion. And then other people are life coaches. People are just amazing at what they go out and do. And then these new electives that we have added really give an individual an opportunity to say, okay, in human services, if I have relationship and intervention skills, if I have personality, individual differences in intelligence, and group counseling, I'm going to be a very valuable entity, either for starting something up or working in employment. And once again, if you all have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. So it does show here the counseling course descriptions. Take a few minutes and kind of dive down through those, because I think we do an excellent job of making sure that the contents of these courses are exactly what's needed for a person to really be proficient with a master's in psychology degree. So I think it's also important to determine, okay, well, what are the outcomes? If I take this coursework, what are those things that I'm really going to be able to excel in doing? So anything from evaluating social, political, and historical milestones, advocating for individual families and communities, being culturally responsive, which is very important, strategies across diverse populations, which are all over our globe, and also to provide comprehensive, well-informed care. And then when you demonstrate professional interpersonal dynamics in formal and informal networks, you're touching the lives of many people who need your specific assistance. And then when you evaluate that communication strategy and coalition building opportunities, you have that guideline that gets you to really great critical thinking skills and decision making, which I think is the essence of many master's programs, but especially in psychology.
And Michele, I'll just jump in here
Please
a little
do.
bit and talk about how, so those core things that you will be learning, they are aligned with the American Psychological Association's recommendations for master's level programs. So that's important to know, that we've taken the time to align the things that we're teaching with the things that the American Psychological Association says are essential for master's level graduates in psychology.
Thank you. That's a great point from an educational standpoint, and that's why we're doing this together. The other thing that I think is most important, and we talk to people up front, what are your goals, what are your desires, what's your dream opportunity, but I think to see some of these wonderful fields that one can go into, whether it's abuse and domestic violence prevention, foster care and adoption, housing and shelter, youth development, victim assistance, public safety and disaster relief, senior care and housing, and substance abuse. If you sit back and look at all those, I don't think we miss too many of the incredible needs that are out there for people who want to be in a helping service.
Absolutely, and students often are bringing their own hubs that have even more opportunities. So this is just a very small piece of the opportunities.
Absolutely. And where they're most needed. So we also like to look at, okay, where are the industrial and organizational positions? I remember when I was in the Master's of Psychology role and in missions, I would often have people say, well, do you all do anything that relates to industrial or anything that relates to human relations? So again, we listen to you all as individuals who are looking. And so if you look at industrial and organizational positions, everything from HR to employee training manager, market research, research assistant, organizational consultant, public relations rep, project coordinator managers. And again, I think you want a return on your investment, that indeed, when you go out there in the real world, there's a panacea of opportunities for individuals who are looking in many different areas.
And Michele, I'll just jump in to share that there is a recent alum who has actually developed his own position in this type of industrial organizational position using the skills and the model that he learned at Divine Mercy. So that's just one example of ways it can be applied in that setting.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then obviously the whole social mental health service positions are huge opportunity, huge need, huge growth area, just because of our world and the way we are. Everything from executive coaches to behavior analysts, psychological associates, rehab advisors, human service caseworkers, psych techs, patient care coordinators, grief and loss counselors, addiction counselors, These are not licensed positions, but they are so needed. And I think that because we teach psychology, again, in a way that we touch the entire human person and not just the science, the way we touch our individuals after they graduate and they go out, they touch the lives of many, many people because of the way we teach psychology. And Dr. Treptow knows that better than anyone.
Yes, and I was just going to say, and actually the wonderful thing about it is that our Catholic Christian model really dovetails with the science. And so you will see that throughout the entire program, how the relationship being the core, I mean, that is psychological science.
Absolutely. And I think I mentioned this earlier, but it is very, very common that people who are already educators will come in and they want to go to that next level. They want to be community college psychology instructors. Maybe they want to teach psychology to high school. We have actually often reached out to some of our own graduates because an admissions representative in higher education has to really be goal-oriented to help people get into the right program. Career counseling, and the government and law enforcement areas are wide open because of criminal profiling, parole officers, drug and alcohol specialists, psychology program managers, social service managers, vocational rehab. People internally in many, many businesses really love the fact that people who have a master's in psychological sciences can have the opportunity to really impact the growth in their leadership abilities of a company, of a business, of a school. So that's why these career opportunities are so important. And then always throughout our history, Parish Ministries, the Diocesan Office of Marriage and Families, Office of Victims Assistant, catechist instructors, faith formation, pre-K, parish counseling, spiritual direction. So many parishes kind of went at a standstill of growth during COVID. And so now they love having people who are coming into their domain and helping to rebuild their church and the joy of being Catholic. So I think it's very, very important to realize that anyone who wants to go in these directions, you're given, again, all those tools to work with.
Michele, I just want to jump in on that one again.
Sure.
Kind of jumping that last one about education and ministry. There seem to be an increasing number of opportunities for people who are educators to work with their diocesan offices in that, just providing better support for the Catholic school system and so forth. So that's just another really great opportunity.
Absolutely. And I know that many of our folks go that direction, and it's exciting to know that they have that. And I can put in a word here to tell you that as the director of alumni relations, the most surprising thing to me has been the number of graduates who hire our graduates, the number of parishes, the number of businesses who actually look for someone who has the criteria that they're looking for in jobs, whether it's being an assistant dean or it's being someone who is a person who has the opportunity to grow their parish or grow their business because of their skills.
Yes, in fact, I have a student who was just excited to say that she had a job opportunity, in that area, right as she's finishing up. So.
And that's very, very common that many of our graduates are already employed even before they graduate, isn't it, Dr. Treptow? So one of the also very, very unique things that we've made a decision about is there are people that really are kind of in a hurry to get their master's finished. Maybe they waited a long time. Maybe there's somebody who works in a situation where they can truly commit 25 to 30 hours a week. You have to think long and hard, and when we talk to you in admissions up front, we make sure that we give you realistic expectations. That's why we have so many graduates and people who continue to go forward, because we let people know that it's not a walk in the park, that it's going to take a lot of energy, it's going to take a lot of opportunity to really be organized. So it is the unique person, but there's a couple of good things about it, and one that your tuition is reduced by about 25% if you're taking 2 classes at once in some 8-week periods versus 1. And then we have the one we've always had, which is our 26-month track. And we estimate that people need to spend somewhere between 15 and 18 hours per week of study time, and that's our regular tuition. So these are things that also, as we walk through admissions with you, that we help you make a decision to ascertain which would be best for your life and for your future.
And Michele, I just was going to jump in and say, and sometimes students, that can be hard to judge, or your life circumstances change and switch. So it's really a pretty easy thing to switch between the tracks. No, I want to get done faster. I think I can do 2 courses this particular term. So you just meet with your advisor, and there are ways to make that all happen. So you're not locked in to one of those tracks. You just make your best informed choice and go from there.
And I think that's the great aspect of it, that you do, in fact, have a choice. We don't want you to be overwhelmed. So thanks for that reminder, Robin. So the other thing that obviously everybody wants to know about, I want this so much, can I afford it? Well, we kind of like to say at Divine Mercy University, where there's a will, there's a way. And so even before a person gets all their documents in and their transcripts and their letters of recommendation, we make sure that we put them in touch immediately with our outstanding financial aid department. They do a great job advising people. There's still opportunities for certain federal aids, internal scholarships, of which we have several, alternative funding. Once, as you know, once you've received your bachelor's degree and you get to the master's level, there are still, it's called the William D. Ford Federal Student Loan Program. It includes unsubsidized Stafford loans and Graduate Plus loans. So everybody's financial situation is different. Some people want to pay a little bit as they go. The other individuals want to make sure that they have the opportunity to, get as many scholarships as they can, set up arrangements with our financial aid department. And so again, you are definitely counseled on what's the best for your situation. And here's a little snapshot of some of the scholarships that each person, if they're eligible for them, can write essays. The financial aid department collects those, and they work with you as far as what they can award you based on any given year. So it takes a little work on your part, but again, where there's a will, there's a way. And there are other scholarships that are available as well, and we try to customize it to each individual based upon the information that you fill out and give to us before your financial aid opportunity and your meeting. Because we are blessed with many years of 21 years now of creating partners. And if any of you are on the call and you are members of any of these or graduates of any of these or involved in any of these opportunities, we have special arrangements for our tuition discount partners, and that's discussed again at the time of your financial aid appointment. So we're going to do our best to help you. If you meet us halfway, and we can find opportunities to make it as comfortable as possible as you make this investment in your future. And that's pretty much everything we wanted to share with you this evening. It is very, very important that you know a couple of things. One, we do have a $1,500 early application scholarship that will actually expire on the 13th, a week from today. And we also can waive your application fee. So you might want to copy that number down there, the CCMMP 1999. Again, I think as admissions folks will be in touch with you to make sure that whether you had any additional questions or not. But I think it's important to realize it is a good time. This is the last class that we have starting in 2022, and that's in August. We call that our fall class. So I hope this has been helpful. Please, if there are any other questions out there, please feel free to put them in the chat. And do be aware that, certainly we'll connect with you. You can call us, we can call you. That happens to be my number direct at the 859-414-5999. That particular Kalinley for setting appointment is, I was helping out in spiritual direction, so that was not accurate, but he would get you to me. But any of those names and numbers there at the top, the 414-5999, I answer all the time. And that's my email, and we'll get you in touch with an admissions rep. Is there anything else, Dr. Treptow, that we've missed that you'd like to add this evening?
Not anything in particular, other than one of the things that you will find to be really rewarding at Divine Mercy, which Michele alluded to some, is just that getting to know the others who are beginning their studies and finishing their studies around the same time as you are. So one of the cohorts that began now about 26 months ago will now all be coming to the graduation to celebrate together. So that's also something to look forward to. And we as faculty try to support you in getting to know those students behind the scenes and so forth. So that's
Is
just
that
something to look forward to, are those relationships with your classmates.
and that's such an excellent point, and one I shouldn't forget, because graduation is so exciting to finally meet everyone in person. And we are amazed, and we know we do online very well, but those cohorts, they get so close. They get amazingly lifetime friends, and they're just delighted to meet each other at graduation. And I guess in closing, the one thing I know, I've been in education for about 40 years and nursing and different arenas, but we are so blessed with a group of instructors who are invested in your success. And that's why I like working for this organization, because I see it time and time again. So thanks to you all again for attending. I'll wait just a second to see if anybody has any questions. We try to be thorough, but we always want to make sure. And like I say, when we go through an admissions interview, we talk about you and what you want and what your long-term objectives are, and make sure that we put people in the right program. Well, God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we thank you for your gift of time and are very appreciative of all of you joining us here this evening. Thank you so much.